Hey everyone, Saksham here, and just give me a quick response if my audio and video is coming all fine. Just give me a quick response about the audio and the video. All right, so there are a few things that I would like to convey you as we have received this from the research that from now onwards, I'm going to reply for all your queries less. In case if you wish to get the support, you can get this after the session is completed. Else, you can reach out to our WhatsApp group that already you must be aware about it. That we have created a WhatsApp group where we are giving 24/7 support. A lot of people are asking queries even in the midnight, and we are solving them all. So from now onwards, we are going to focus more on the content, and we are going to achieve some good results after that. And let's take a quick refresher about the curriculum, about what we have covered so far. So the students who are looking to get the WhatsApp group, it must be sent on your emails. So make sure you check out your emails. So as so far, we have completed the introductory curriculum, you can say, and then we are done with setting up an environment. I hope everybody must have updated and upgraded their systems. And then we are also done with the Linux crash course that we have covered into our previous class. In this class, we are going to take a quick refresher of the core fundamentals of web. And also we are going to talk about the complete burp suite module training in this class. So there are a lot of things that are related to burp suite. So we are going to clear them all in this session. This could be a little shorter session, but we are going to stay focused onto the core fundamental or for the web pen testing, or next up, we are going to bring up the complete burp suite module training. So make sure you keep a good eye on this session. And then from tomorrow onwards, we are going to do a lot of the practical things we are going to cover tomorrow. Like we are going to move on with the Reconnaissance methodology. And also then from, tomorrow we are going to cover Reconnaissance methodology. And also we are going to complete our testing environment, which means we are going to configure our own web pen testing lab. And from the next week, we are going to get started with the attacks. So I'm going to cover as much attacks as much I can. So let's get started with today's session without any further ado. So let's take a quick refresher of the core fundamental for web pen testing. We are going to take them in detail this time. So it will be a good refresher for you as well. And also then we'll be ready to, go ahead and, cover things into the real life scenario. So let's get started. In this module, we are going to cover the core web fundamental. We are also going to take a quick refresher of the IP addresses. And also we are going to look at what exactly the ports are, how much ports are there, what are their numbers, how they are configured. We are also going to talk about HTTP and HTTPS working. We are also going to talk about the URL and the directories overview, though I have given you a quick head start regarding this, and also I've given you the refresher regarding this. But in this session, we are going to cover this in a detailed manner. And also we are going to talk about the APIs, which are really important out there because you find a lot of flaws related to APIs as well. So in order to understand how the API looks and how we can test them, we are going to try them in this session. And also we are going to talk about the different status codes by which you'll be able to identify that what kind of packet it is and what kind of request is being delivered in here. So let's get started. If you talk about the fundamentals, then you can see that we have the OSI and the TCP IP layer. So these are the two main important layers, you can say. And let me select this quick tool. Okay. So this OSI layer is basically responsible for carrying your data from your web application. If there is any involvement of system, network, or the server, then the OSI layer is really responsible for that. So you can see, you can have a look at the different OSI layers. You need to learn them. So make sure you learn them up because, into a lot of interview questions as well, they can ask you that what are the different OSI layers. So at least you should be able to learn all of these 7 OSI layers. So, these 3 layers are the layers where your application is interacting, or you can say it is, connection, or you can say the communication oriented. So you can see the application, the first layer out there for the application is the application layer where your application is interacting. Then, the presentation, or you can say something that is shown up in front of your screens, is displayed in the presentation layer. And then you can see that you have the sessions over there. Sometimes you gotta have to, make a lot of sessions active over there. Sometimes you gotta have to expire those sessions. A lot of cookies and these kind of things are there. So they are responsible into the session layer. Then you have 4 more basic layer that are responsible for the transportation of the data. So the data will be transported. For that, you have a special transport layer. And then depending upon your network and these kind of things out there, because in upcoming time in this session only, we are going to learn that you have a lot of TCP and the IP addresses. These kind of things are there. So they are all linked into the networking layer. And then you have data link and physical layer that is going to show you the interface of the network. So when we talk about the network, internet layer and the IP addresses, these kind of layers are there. And the physical and the network, interface layer, this last one, the network interface layer, your MAC address is going to play a responsible part in here. So you're going to have to learn all of them. The first one is the application layer. The second one is the presentation layer, session layer. These are just responsible for making the TCP IP connection, because, as I've told you, a lot of packets are there. And there you have these 3 layers that are responsible for the communication of application. The transport layer plays the important role for transferring your data. The network layer is going to be from the server side, you can say, or it is responsible with the internet, you can say, which is why the network layer is there. And then, if that is fetched inside your system, then your MAC address and the port, different ports, they are playing their part and completing your network interface, which means they are giving you the data link, and they are also interacting with a lot of your physical ports like MAC address. So this is a quick TCP IP protocol that runs along with the OSI, and both of them moves along the side. So make sure you learn them up. And I'm pretty sure there are a hell lot of interviews where they are definitely asking this question. So you gotta have to learn them. That first one is application layer, or you can even, in order to learn them very easily, you can, first of all, take it like you don't have 7 layers. You just have the 4 TCP IP layers, in which the first one is the application layer, then you have the transport, then you have the internet and the networking interface. Just imagine only these 4 layers. And inside that, there are the different part and different things responsible for that. And then you have the application layer, presentation layer, and session layer. All of these things are responsible for the application. Then you have the transport layer for the transportation. The name pretty much defines what it is doing. And then you have the basically last 2 layers are related to your internet and the communication in between 2 devices, which is why you have network, data link, and the physical layer. So make sure you learn them up. So this was all about the OSI model. And if we proceed further, then you can see, don't worry, I'm going to give you these resources, and you can find this presentation again into your community section. Also, you can talk about the application layer that I've already shown you the graph into the earlier classes. But here, the web application layer has, I'm going to tell you the advanced way in which the web application layer is, playing a lot of part. For example, it's about the space, first of all, whether you're using cloud hosting, or, you are putting there into some kind of hosting that are offered by GoDaddy or the hostinger, and, these kind of different things. So that is going to be defined here. And then, suppose this is your web application. So the transportation is starting from here, because you're putting all of your hosting file in here, maybe into the cloud development or maybe into your hosting. And then they are being forwarded into the web application. And then whatever your software and, these kind of things are being served onto your web application. But apart from that, side by side, they are also checking up that whether, these kind of things are being served onto your mobile phones, or, what kind of time it is taking in, changing the packets. You can also check it out into the developer sections of the Mozilla Firefox, that, how much time it is taking. Sometimes, when there is an SQL injection, then you have the SQL injection related to time-based as well. In there, you see that the packet is, sometimes, suppose I give you a situation, like, if there is a time-based SQL injection and you hit that query and the packet is being served in 5 seconds, but into the when you don't hit the query and when you normally load up that page, then the packet is being served within like 1 second or 2 seconds, then on the basis of time there are a lot of attacks that are being initiated. So that is also being used, and we all know that the usability and agility is also being defined in today's world, because you've got to have to detect that whether it should be mobile responsive or not. In fact, you have the different sizes of the screens in front of you. So these kind of agility tools are defining them, making them more responsive out there. So this is how your application layer is being communicated. Today we are going to have a little shorter class because we are just going to cover up these basic fundamentals of the web application. And the next up, I'm going to cover all the modules of the Burp suite. So that's all what we are going to have in today's session. Next up, we have the IP addresses. I've already, defined the IP addresses into my previous systems. Like you have the IP addresses, you can see that you have a one address that is defined here, that is the decimal format number. So this DFN is defined of the 8 bits. Right now we are using IP4 address, and it is also there into the binary format. So basically we all know that your computer is reading the binary format. So these are the different binary formats that we have designed. So basically all the room of this DFN here defines for decimal format number. So this decimal format number, every room is defined of 8 bits. So these are the different 8 bits. So we are going to talk about SQL injection in detail when we are going to have a detailed session on SQL. But right now we are just clearing up our fundamentals. So Prateek, you can just go ahead and ask these kind of things into our WhatsApp group. Okay. So this was all about the IP addresses. So you can just check this out. And also we are going to take a quick refresher. We have already seen that the kind of URL you are into the previous sessions, we have already learned that the kind of URLs you are hitting up into your browser, and then you are getting the HTTPS request. And from the web server, you are getting the HTTPS response, the status codes, and the web page data. But we haven't yet figured out that what kind of detailed HTTPS protocols are there, what kind of detailed HTTPS status codes are there, which is what we are going to cover in this session. And we are going to talk about the ports as well in this session. We are already done with HTTP and HTTPS because a lot of people were requesting for that PPT, which is why we have prepared it again into a more detailed manner. But we have already, we have already had a word about this scenario about HTTP and HTTPS. But in this scenario, I have also updated this PPT to give you an example that how HTTP could be, insecure in a manner. For example, if something is, you are a user into the web browser, for example, you are a user here into this web browser. Suppose, this user is getting some kind of data from the website that is being fetched from the web server. So basically you are getting this, web server kind of files that are being shown to you into your browser. And then later on, you can see that when the when the request is coming up back to the server, or whether the request is being sent by the user to the server, you can say, then the message forgery can be done, data theft can be done, or eavesdropping can be done. Because this is a big problem out there that into a lot of HTTP protocols, you can see almost everything in a plain text, which means you can see all the messages in the plain text. If you're talking to someone or if you're chatting to someone and that platform is hosted on HTTP, then you can see all the messages over there. Suppose if you are logging into a platform where HTTPS is not installed, then by Wireshark, you can capture the packets and you can see the login details as well. So everything is being served into a plain text in HTTP, and you can see, all of these details into the HTTP protocol. But if we talk about the HTTPS, then the message forgery, data theft, eavesdropping, and these kind of things are not possible, because when you try to intercept these kind of packets in Wireshark, We are going to do them practically into the upcoming curriculum. As you can see, into the upcoming curriculum, we have taken all of these things in detail. Right now, we are just building up the fundamental, not focusing more onto the practical approach, but right now we are clearing up your fundamentals. So, when you'll try to capture the packets into the Wireshark, then you will notice that you won't see any of these plain text. You will see the encoded data that could be into the SHA-256, or different encoders are there, and you will be seeing the details into the encoded manner inside those packets. So this is the main thing, and this is the main threat on the role of hacking that you can have onto the HTTP or HTTPS, because if once you are connected inside the network, then it gets quite easy to monitor almost everything out there. And also we are going to talk about the ports today. So this is something that I always wanted to talk about. There is a very famous saying of Kevin Mitnick that as much number of ports you have, we can try to hack in something as much of ways that are defined into the ports. So basically this usually happens in all kind of big profile hacks that you keep on saying, whether it is a ransomware or it is Eternal Blue, or these kind of attacks are out there coming up daily into the market. I would like to give you a quick resource if you want to keep an eye on these kind of exploits. I'm going to show you the database of all the exploit, that is exploit-db. So you can visit exploit-db.com. Here you can see that it is the exploit database for all the exploits that are till now released into the market. So this is one of the finest database of the exploit. So suppose if I write here as Windows, and if I hit enter, I'm not able to see the results. I guess my web page isn't being loaded correctly in here. Let's go ahead and search for EDB, that is exploit database. Okay, you can see a lot of SolarView. Weblizer is a very famous plugin out there of the WordPress. Okay, it is responding me a little late, but yes, the response coming up. So if I go here and hunt for some exploit in Windows, okay, seems like this website is not responding pretty well now due to some reasons. Okay, you can see it's right here. Okay, so I wrote here Windows, and I'm getting a little late response in this website, but you can see that the Windows Defender detection bypass, again, that page is gone. Okay, this website has been behaving weirdly, but when you'll go ahead and when you'll search for Windows, then you'll be able to see that there are different exploits available for Windows 11 as well, Windows 10 as well, and these kind of exploits are here for the first of all. So when you see these kind of exploits, again, it's here. So Windows reg file, you can see Windows 2011 and SMB Ghost. It's one of the finest attack out there. You have a lot of TCP/IP related attacks, and Windows 10 is also. This is one of the finest attack that we are about to learn at the end of this class. That is Microsoft Windows 7 SMB Ghost compression compatibilities. One of the biggest attack, that is local privilege escalation, and also into the Windows 10. Into the upcoming classes, we are also going to talk about the buffer flow. So buffer flow will practically shut down the system that is there onto the same network, and you're gonna have to detect that how to go ahead and find the devices that are connected onto the same network with the help of Nmap tool. But right now, if I'll teach you how to configure the exploits, that will be pretty tricky and technical for you, which is why I just want to give you an idea that all of these attacks are executed with the help of these kind of physical ports. So everything you can see inside your CPU is connected upon a port that is later on connected with the chipset by which the kernel is able to communicate, and it is able to run the CPUs and these kind of things. If the kernel is not there, you'll be see that into the BIOS, you can just if you have a hi-fi and you can say a gaming PC or somewhat like that, then you will be able to overclock the speed as well. You will be able to control the fan speed as well. But you are controlling these kind of fan speed and these kind of things with the help of your application layer. but ultimately they are connected to the ports. So kernel is the mid layer that is helping them out to connect with each other. So for example, you have this cooling fan, you have the switch, CPU cooling fan, and the Ethernet port. These are the really important ports out there. So these are the PS2 ports. You have a lot of USB ports as well, parallel port that is not at all useful. You have VGA port, HDMI port, USB port, audio jacks, and these are the hardware ports. But you have a lot of ports for the services as well. For example, a lot of services and the hardwares are built inside your CPU only. And likewise, there are some important ports that you need to learn. So make sure you learn them later after the class is completed. You can just check out this resource. And the first thing that you're going to have to learn is the OSI model layer and the TCP model according to the TCP as well. And the next thing you need to learn is the logical ports. You can see that there are some logical ports that I have listed down for you people. The first one is the HTTP port, the port number 80, which is really important. All the HTTP protocols are transferred from the port 80 or port 8080, you can say. And the HTTPS port is 443. Usually your CCTV cameras are also hosted onto the port 443. You have FTP as well. Usually, you get the FTP access when the developer is there. They don't want to give you the complete access of the hosting, or you can say the cloud. In that case, they give you the FTP. You also have SSH. By the help of SSH, you are able to communicate with two operating systems as well, and you can run the same service into the multiple systems. For example, if I want to host some of my server into the Linux server edition, that is LSE. So I can run that server into the Linux server edition into the VirtualBox, and side by side I can use all the things that I've configured into the Linux server edition into my primary operating system as well, or maybe into my Kali Linux as well, or maybe into my Windows operating system as well. That is done with the help of SSH tunneling. And then you also have SMTP. Usually the emails are right here. You have DNS and DHCP as well. So these are the logical ports that you gotta have to learn. And like I mentioned that these are the basic, server-side, server-side services that you'll see on running. Like you have the Apache server, you have the Jinx, and the Tomcat server, and the ISS web server. These are mostly related to Linux, you can say. So a lot of people are using Tomcat services and Apache services. Suppose if the company is a little older, they are definitely not yet shifted to cloud, which is why we need to understand that they must be using Apache or the Jinx server or the Tomcat server, ISS web server. So what we can do is that, we can just do a quick scanning of their server, or you can say of their ports that are running onto the server. Suppose there are the different ports, and these are the different services running on this port. So we can do the port scanning with the help of Nmap. So basically, Nmap stands for network mapping. It is one of the finest tool to figure out that what kind of services are running onto the which network. So when you see the hi-fi attacks that are related to arbitrary command attack, or it's the some kind of privilege escalation is there, that is directly done inside the server. You don't do that onto the layer of like the application layer. You cannot do that onto that application layer. You directly have to breach inside the server, where you can see the Apache, Jinx, and the Tomcat. These kind of services are hosted. So this was a quick structure that I wanted to tell you. And then we have already read that what kind of different static web pages and the program modules are loaded up when you get the permission from the database. And then it is allocated onto the web server. And then, whatever is there onto that website, for example, it is a membership user or the e-catalog or online forum or whatever kind of website is that is there. You see that onto the end user, or you can say the client side. So basically, these Apache, Jinx, Tomcat, these are the web servers, you can say. Okay, so this was a quick infrastructure that I wanted to tell you about the backend and the front end that is being served into a lot of places and into a lot of websites, because you just don't have to stay till excesses and these kind of small attacks, because you get a very low bounty out of that. But once you learn that how to directly attack the server, then you can make the big bounties, like I gave you the example a few minutes back. Right now, I just wanted to give you a quick fundamental overview that what kind of attacks and what kind of criterias that we can play on, which is why I am introducing you this kind of architecture and the working process. So make sure you go ahead and you don't just go ahead and you learn a lot of things related to that, to this resource that I'm about to give you today, because in this resource, these are the things that one should know as an ethical hacker. A lot of people have been saying that you don't need to learn programming to become an ethical hacker, you don't need to learn this, that, but these are the some prerequisites that you definitely need to learn if you wish to become a good ethical hacker. Because sometimes if you won't understand that what is going behind the architecture, what is the actual technical architecture behind any cybersecurity process, there will be a saturation point that will come up into your career if you won't understand the fundamental. So forget about the programming or anything, you just learn the fundamental that I'm trying to teach you up right here, and you just learn these kind of resources that I'm giving you every day. Also, let's talk about the DNS. There is also one vulnerability that we are going to talk about in this module, that is related to DNS vulnerability. So basically what happens is that, suppose this is a user right in front of you, and then you go ahead and you request something to the web server, then then the request is directly not going to the web server. There is a DNS that is responsible in between, which is solving your IP address into the bits. Like I told you earlier, into the IP addresses. For example, let me go ahead and check out the module of the IP addresses. Here it is. So you can see that all of these decimal number format are converted into the bits, right? So these are converted into the bits with the help of DNS, right? So let me just go ahead and tell you that here it must be DNS. So all of these are converted into the bits from the help of DNS. So this is a domain name system. It simply, like I just wrote here, that it simply resolves the IP address to the domain name server, which means that you are requesting some kind of, web page to be served onto your web browser, that is being resolved with the help of DNS. Sometimes we can spill the DNS as well. For example, we can give a wrong resolution to the DNS, and we can, reveal a lot of DNS related vulnerability that we are about to see in some time, maybe into the upcoming classes. From the next week, I'm pretty sure that we are definitely going to start some attacks. Tomorrow, I want to remind you again, we are going to do the reconnaissance part and the lab setup for, in order to start the live attacks. And this was all about the DNS. And you must be already knowing that there are a lot of domains available right here these days. A lot of priority has been given to them. For example, .com. .com has been given a lot of priority. And then the second level domain that we see onto the Google, if we especially just talk about the Google, then the top level hierarchy is being maintained by .com, and the second level domain is .co or maybe .in. These kind of domains are redirected on the basis of location by Google. So usually, if we talk about what is the user .in, then the basic is, you keep a parent level of domain on .com, and then on the basis of location, it looks great if you try to serve your website onto the .in, or if you're launching your website in some kind of country, then you can definitely go ahead and try that country's suffix. You can say maybe it could be like .au for Australia and these kind of things. But this also gives you a quick approach that you don't need to find all the bugs on google.com. You can sometimes wander on google.au as well. You can go ahead and find a lot of website related of Google on google.nz as well. NZ here stands for New Zealand. So these kind of different suffix that you need to keep in your mind. Into the recurrence methodology, we'll explore that how we can take out all the links and all the domains that are situated of the parent domain. So that is done under the reconnaissance methodology. For example, we are going to extract all the domains that are situated to the parent domain. We are going to extract all the links that are situated onto that particular website. So this is the first thing. Now you have a lot of targets. So you need to define your own targets. That's what we do into the Reconnaissance. You can also see a lot of other domains like .net, .edu, .gov. You don't usually get the .gov because that is reserved for the government. So these kind of different domains that are available out there, and these kind of DNS hierarchy are there. So this is, you can also host a lot of subdomains as well. And usually your mail is mostly there onto your subdomain only. That is mail dot whatever the name of that website is. But I can also tell you that you can definitely go for SMTP ports. Mostly the mails are hosted onto the SMTP port. So this is also the other connection that you can take an idea from the fundamental. So SMTP ports is what you can try when you go ahead with the network scanning and these kind of things. I've already given you about the brief information related to the hierarchy of the URL. So basically you have the protocol in here that is HTTP or HTTPS. I'm just giving you a quick refresher. I'm just going you a quick refresher, and also we have got an informative response in our chat that SMTP port is 587 for the Gmail. So this is also a good thing. I'm pretty sure that you're going to explore a lot of things when we are going to go with the port scanning. So if you talk about the full uniform resource locator, or you can say the URL path, then this is the protocol that defines that if your packets are going to get encrypted or they are going to go into the plain text over the network. So you have the HTTP in here, and then you have the host name in here. Of course, the domain that you see. Then you have the directory and the path. Like I mentioned, if we go ahead and see our, excuse me. Okay, so if you go ahead and see your your my computer as well, the directory is being defined onto the top part. I'm just going to show you that real quickly. So like you can see, it's my file explorer is right here. So if I go ahead into the documents, and if I click in here, you can see nothing in here. I'll have to directly navigate into the Windows C drive. And if I go into the program files, and suppose if I go into this Git folder, then you can see that it is defining the directory basically that I have gone into the C drive, then the program files, and then the Git. So this is basic. Oh, excuse me quite a lot for these kind of sneezes. Okay, so basically these are defining the directories only. So which is what I wanted to tell you, that these are the directory paths. And then and then you see that you have index.html. This is the main file that is responsible for communicating all the codes, and that is getting served in front of your browser. So these are also the different kind of files that are there into the hostings, that are a file, because when you see that there is a domain and it should be linked to some kind of hosting, or you can say your web storage, where you are putting all of your files, whether it is related to cloud or whether it is related to some kind of hosting. Your domain needs to be connected to the hosting, or you can say the web space that is over there. So these things are done with the configuration of where you define the address of you can say IPv4 is still getting used in here. So you link your domain name, or you can say the address of your domain, and you don't see quad A much, but it is also one of the A record which is used for the IPv6. And the reason why I mentioned that you don't see it much, because it is used for the IPv6. So you can see a lot of people are already preparing and getting started with the IPv6, but we cannot yet see any practical implementation as of now, but we are expected to see it really soon. And then you have a name, that is where you point your domain to the hosting, or you can say the web space. So you gotta have to configure that. And you have the C name that is called as canonical name. So what happens here, it basically masks your original IP addresses on the basis of hosting. So canonical C name, you can point a lot of different things into there. For example, you have the hosting somewhere else, and you want to point that hosting onto some different kind of web address that is not at all a part of your website, or maybe you want to host that hosting into your subdomain, but you want to keep your major hosting aside. Then you do that with the help of CNAME. And then you also have SOA, that is responsible for the DNS zone. You when you go ahead and you make some changes into SOA, that is startup authority, it may lead to the zone transfer vulnerability, which we are going to learn into the upcoming time. So these kind of definition that I'm trying to make you understand, they are also very important, because if you go ahead and if you exploit somewhere, if you find anything important inside the server or anything like that, or if it is if you found that, because some people host these kind of files somewhere else too. For example, sometimes they host their SMTP or the mail ports somewhere else too. So in that case, you can make a use of it, and you can really understand that what kind of these files are there and what all you can do that. So SOA is okay. Seems like my laptop's battery is a little low. Give me a second. I'm quickly trying to plug in the charger of my battery. Okay, we are all plugged in and back. Okay, so if we talk about the SOA, then if you get the hands on it, and because of this, a lot of DNS zone transfer vulnerability can be led here. So this is why SOA is also important. Then you have name server. So name server is basically defining your domain and the subdomain. So basically, this name server is linked to your CNAME. So these two things are linked and can be configured, because in CNAME you'll define that you wish to get the hosting from the parent hosting where they are giving up. A lot of SaaS based platforms are also hosted like this only. They just come up with their product, because somewhat if you wish to host any kind of, if you're using any kind of SaaS based software, they go ahead and they change your canonical name. So they are then defined by the name server, that whether they want to host something, some kind of SaaS services that you have taken for your website, or you directly want to run the codes, that is being defined by the name server. And also you can see you have MX records. You must have heard about MX records quite a lot. If you haven't heard about it, then I can just give you a brief idea about what MX is. So MX is basically responsible for the mail exchange. This server is used when you map a lot of different kind of you can say email IDs to your parent ID. Then the MX record is right there. You can also find some TXT files. For example, you can find robot.txt, which is there, which was publicly visible onto the you can say Facebook as well. Long back there was robot.txt available. So if you can configure robot.txt pretty well, it can save your web scraping, or you can restrict a lot of things if you can define them into the txt files. So robot.txt, you can always go ahead and try the name of the URL with the /, and then you can write robot.txt. So you'll find a lot of robot.txt files into a lot of different domains. So this is also a one criteria. Why I'm trying to teach you these kind of fundamentals, they are a little technical, but this will give you a holistic idea. This will open up your mind about the vectors that you can target, and about the vectors that you can attack on. Then you have SRV. You can if you are trying to go ahead and host the third party services and these kind of services, in which I have mentioned one of the services, that is view IP. Then you can go ahead with the SRP services. Then you have sender policy framework. So basically SPF, SPF is like a policeman of the hosting thing, because it helps to stop a lot of spamming and these kind of things. Though people are still researching about the spam detection. So if there is anyone here who is attending my class that is related to the data science, then a lot of data science students are every day creating they are creating a lot of you can say the spam bots, and in both the sites it is being done. The red team is creating a lot of spam bots. For example, you must have heard about the OTP spam bot that we see quite a lot into a lot of mobile phones and these kind of things. So these spam bots are being created. In order to give the response to them, they are a lot of people are training anti-spam models as well, because once you try to create these kind of scripts where the mail is being sent, or maybe there are a lot of temporary email services running up. If you want, I can list you some. Mostly that I use is GetNada. That's one of the finest disposable email that you will find on internet. So GetNada is what you can see. So you can make any random email right here. For example, you can just go ahead and click on add inbox, and you can see that new or you can say you can open somebody else's email as well. For example, a lot of people have been using test, so you can get a lot of data in here. So somebody, I'm pretty sure, must have used the test as well. You can see GetNada is what I usually use, but a lot of people are using different emails that are not famous out there into the market. For example, GetNada is quite famous for the disposable email, but a lot of people are not aware about the Zmail or GiveMail. They are quite easy to make fool a lot of people. So make sure you just keep an eye if these kind of emails are there. So I was quite right. So somebody has signed up onto Zapier, and these kind of these are the open emails as well. So make sure if you go ahead and try to put some of your information out there, make sure you don't put any of your personal information, because if somebody is going to access this disposable email with the same name or the same name that you're using here, then that is already being created, and you can read his emails as well. Like you're getting some emails from Microsoft and these kind of things. You can practically open these emails. See, okay, so seems like I'm not able to open up this email, or I'm getting some Chrome add-on in order to open up this email. The email is being displayed, I guess. Yes, I gotta have to add this Chrome add-on in order to see this email. But anyways, you can just use it for the disposable purpose. If you don't wish to use your own own email, personal email for by any of the purpose, then you can get these kind of services. So a lot of anti-spam bot email are also being configured, which is really helping out a lot of people out there. Then you have PTR. It is the reverse of A address. Okay. Yes, Sohail is right. There is also one more thing, that is DMARC. So DMARC, some people call it as DMARC. So you can also configure DMARC if you wish to go ahead with the anti-spam kind of things into your emails. This is what is recommended when you do the audits. You check out all of these criteria. The reason why I'm telling you in such a corporate way, because when just not bug bounty, when you're going to go ahead and do some kind of audits, you are going to check out all of these parts of that client in order to make him fully secure by all the means, whether it is related to email, or it is related to server, or it is related to their website, or anything at all out there. Then you have PTR as well. PTR is responsible for pointing your IP address to the domain names, and they can't basically exist on the same zone as the DNS record. So basically, they are the reverse of A records. So PTR is not much useful out there. So you don't need to know much about that. But You just need to, if somebody asks you what PTR is, that is called as pointer. So if you want to reverse point something, that is being done with the help of a records, you can say. So that is the basic use of PTR pointer. Okay. Always check for typos and mistakes when entering your DNS. This is the quick tip that I've suggested, because in a lot of times you might be looking into somebody's hosting and configuring them, or maybe you're just recommending them something, because when you go ahead and you do the security audit, you get the access of practically everything, whether it is their server or their machines or anything that they are working on. So they can ask you for the security audit of the systems, maybe, or maybe they can ask you for the security audit of their web application, which includes the server side as well. So here's a quick tip, that always check for typos and mistakes when entering your DNS record information, especially your IPs. The zone configuration file is a good place to check your work and spot any mistyped information. So this was all that you can see inside the email. The name server, I'm going to repeat the name server because that is really important out there. So basically, name server is responsible to resolve your IP address and your maybe in whatever thing that you have configured, whether it is your domain or subdomain. So this is the main function of name server. So the important ones out there that I can identify in these kind of hosting files is the A address and the A name and the C name, canonical name. This is important. And then USOA is also very important. The name server is important. MX records are important, and TXT files are also important into the robot.txt, and these kind of files are there. This was very funny case onto the Star Hub. I cannot take the complete name. You must have already guessed about it, but into the older times, they have kept a lot of password of VIP accounts into the .txt file. So when I did the spider on their website in order to win the bounty, because it was newly listed at that time, like 3 years back, it was newly listed over there on HackerOne. So I just did a quick reconnaissance methodology in which I was able to pull out all the links that are related to the website and to the subdomains as well. So there was one link in which I have found the TXT files where a lot of email IDs and the passwords were kept. So sometimes you find a lot of bugs when you do the reconnaissance only. So that is the key. Okay, so we already had a word about HTTP methods. So students who are requesting for a detailed PPT, I have prepared it just for them. We have already seen these kind of practicals in there. But in case, I just also wanted to tell you that you can also see these kind of things into a very transparent manner onto your Mozilla Firefox as well. Because on your Mozilla Firefox, you'll be able to see that when you'll right click and when you'll open your developers section right here, or you can say when you'll open your developers tool, then when you'll go into the headers. Now, I'm pretty sure you must have got this idea that what actually the headers are and what they are serving you, right? So you can see that the GET request is right there. So in some cases, like you need to know that with what kind of forms are being submitted and they are submitted onto which path. That could really help you out in intercepting it, and in order to submit something else that is not at all related to website. But yeah, this is one kind of hack methodology that you can apply. So if you are able to extract the form, the main link where the form is being submitted, for example, I've extracted this for W3 School into the header request onto the action.page. So, this was the page that was there, and the form of W3 School was submitted onto a file that must be there into their hosting that is named something as like action_page.php. So you can easily figure this out, that all the forms that are submitted by W3 School is being submitted with a PHP file that is there inside their hosting, where you can see that all of your details are being submitted. So you can basically try to submit something else on action_page.php, since now you know the URL. So maybe you can try to explore about it quite a lot into your verb suite and these kind of things that we are going to look at it into the upcoming classes, right? And you can you can find out a lot of links here as well. For example, mycourses.w3schools.com, and they are putting up a lot of things right here. right? So this was also a quick methodology in order to know that where your files or where your forms are being submitted, because if you'll play onto a lot of parameters that are around there in submitting the forms and these kind of things, then it's easy for us when a hacker can get penetrated inside there into a request that is about to get submitted to the server. So maybe he can make some changes over there, like I've shown you into the verb suit and these kind of things. So this is one thing, and this is one methodology that I wanted to talk about. And okay, so a lot of you people must be thinking that how to extract these kind of URLs. So first of all, you can extract these kind of URLs exactly at the time of submission of data. You just keep this developers tool opened up at the same time, and you can have a look at them. Else, I'm going to tell you into the tomorrow's class that how you can extract all the links and all of these kind of information out there. There are a lot of OSINT tools that are available out there in order to do this, and we can do this manually as well. Likewise, you can also do, I've given you some of the more example right here. You can see that the status code is right here, 200 OK, and these kind of status codes are right there. But this also reminds me that we have not taken the status codes in detail. So let's go ahead and these kind of know these kind of things into the details. But first of all, let's talk about some important definitions that you need to know, because if somebody asks you that, you should know that what exactly the host is. So if you talk about the host, then some web server hosts multiple websites. So by providing the host headers, you can tell it. For example, you go ahead and if you go to the local vendor and to some IT company that are they're working for their clients onto the low scale, then you can if you go ahead and you tell them that, hey, I want to buy 1 GB of hosting or maybe 2 GB of hosting, they give you these kind of hosting onto the shared hosting, right? So in that case, if the one hosting is like, suppose if one web space is hosting more than one web page, and suppose if one web page, if one of the web page of them is vulnerable, then I'm pretty sure that all of those websites that are hosted onto the same server are under the risk as well. So this is one of the things that I wanted to tell you, that sometimes if you define the architecture of your product or something like that, never go for shared hosting. Take a good hosting that is solely yours. So this is basically the source. And then you have the user agent that is also there out there. So your user agent is your browser. Even if you'll check this out into the burp suite or maybe into the cookies, the user agent is definitely defined. So if somebody asks you that what exactly the user agent is, so then the user agent is something in which your HTML or the website related files are processed and shown to you. For example, it could be your Chrome browser, it could be your Firefox browser, or these kind of different browser. They could be that. Then you also have the content length, right? So if the content length, it defines how much request that you can expect from that web page is defined under the content length. So you can also see these kind of content length and these kind of things into the developers tool again. This way, once you define if the content length of this web page is, let's say it's 8, right? So if once the content length is defined, then the web server can recheck and it can ensure that the content length isn't increased or decreased. For example, when the hacker will try to extract some extra file, or it will like to send, if once it intercepts the packet in between the way, before sending it to the server, you can say, in between that way, if that, hacker or somewhat like that, or you can say the cybersecurity analyst is trying to just push in some kind of extra data, or if he's trying to push in some kind of extra file, image, or any exploit out there, the server can definitely ensure that it is not missing any data and it is not accepting any data as well. There is also a term called as accept encoding, right? So there are a lot of compressions method out there available, and if you will accept the encoding, there are a lot of encoding being done. For example, there is encoding done, and like I've shown you into my previous class, like the Google. When I searched Tom Cruise on Google, there were a lot of random numbers out there. They were called as the encoding numbers, right? So there are a lot of formats. For example, you have URL, URL 8 F8. You can say method is right there into the URL. You have a lot of encoding methodologies for your web pages as well. It depends what kind of SSL you are using and what kind of encoding methodology that SSL is using. So basically, you're gonna have to accept the encoding methodologies in there. And then you have this term that is also called as a cookie right here, right? So the cookie is the data that is sent to the server to help remember your information. For example, and to a lot of website, you see, you just don't have to keep your mind till like suppose you're just feeling like only your password and the sessions are going inside your cookies. No, 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 no. That is one part that is going inside the cookies, but there are a lot of other things also that are out there that are being sent in the form of cookies. For example, some of the people are like using some kind of third-party fonts that they are definitely stored into the browser, and sometimes you tell them to accept the cookies because they are storing these kind of fonts that are not there onto your browser. Or if there is any file that is small enough and it is trying to store them into your web browser, so that when next time when you just go ahead and access that file, it comes up into a super speed out there. That is, these kind of small information and these kind of small requests are also stored into the cookies out there. Then you also have the set cookies. So it is the set cookies are the cookies that are coming up again from the web server, you can say. And these cookies have the different kind of tasks that I gave you the example just now. They are all stored inside the set cookies, you can say. So you just don't need to send that request to web server again and again, and and then that server is putting up the server again into that. So you don't need to do that. Once you set a cookie, there is not much difference in cookie in both the cases. Like I have just now mentioned you what exactly the cookies are. In this case, you set the cookies. For example, you don't need to, once you set these kind of cookies into your browser, you put these kind of functions into your website, then you just don't have to send the cookies, and then you don't have to take these cookies from the web server again and again. So in order to save that time, you go ahead and set the cookies in that. Coming on to the cache control. So cache depends on to the browser. Basically, cache is mainly responsible to set that for how long that cookie is going to stay into your browser. So basically, sometimes they say that, hey, if that is not working, then you should go ahead and clear the cache of your browser. So which means sometimes the cache is outdated. If the server, or you can see the website, is being updated, new cache and cookies are coming up into your browser, then the old cache is creating a conflict inside your browser, which is why they recommend you to clear your cache if if something is going unusual. So it defines basically it defines the age of the content inside your browser, that for how long this request is going to get stored into your browser. Or if I reframe this sentence, that for how long this cache is going to stay into your browser. So this is basically what the use of cache is. Then you also have content type. This content type is also defined inside your cookies, you can say. For example, there could be a lot of different packets. So some packet is like, suppose there is one packet that is responsible just to serve the HTML body. Then there is some different packet. All the web page is not going to come up into your single packet. You always you need to remember that. So the one of their packet is responsible for storing the information into the HTML. The other packet is responsible for storing some kind of CSS files, or maybe some other packet is responsible for any kind of JS data, or maybe the images, PDF, video. There is a lot of content being served. So the content type is a filter that defines that what kind of files that are going to get served inside your browser, right? And I guess we have kept this twice, that is called as content encoding. So this is that we have just now discussed. It is coming up twice. It is used to define that what kind of encoding is being used. For example, I just gave you the example a few seconds back that UTF-8. I repeat, UTF-8 is what is used for data encoding. I'm sorry, I just gave you the wrong info. The right one is UTF-8 is responsible for your URL encoding, right? So in some cases, you extract the hashes as well. You hear them that I'm looking to encode the hash. What are those hash? Those hash are the encoded characters that you need to decode, you can say. So in a lot of cases, when you go ahead and try to hack for ID and the passwords, then you receive these kind of information in the form of hashes that you gotta have to later on decode as well, right? So this is what the content encoding is responsible for. Okay, so I hope you are still enjoying today's session. We have taken a lot of good advanced and in-depth resource of the fundamental, so you'll get the better idea, because as much fundamental will be cleared, your scope will be broadened inside your brain, that what are the different vectors that I can attack on. So you take it this way, the amount of information that you're receiving here, especially in this lecture, this is related to fundamental onto the priority level, which is why we are trying to explore the fundamentals as much as we can. Now you have a lot of HTTP codes as well. Into the previous classes, we have learned that there are 1xx, then there are 2xx, 3xx, 4xx, and 5xx. Here we are going to learn that what kind of requests are being set into the 100 to 199 or 200 to 299. So this is a quick refresher, and then we are going to read all of these status codes in detail, because you should know that what 200 OK is or what exactly the 302 is doing out there, because you cannot just go ahead and Google again and again that what kind of this request is. But just for the quick info, this is for the redirection. Now into the case of redirection as well, sometimes you redirect the web pages, sometimes you redirect the APIs, sometimes you also redirect the OTP services that you're using, or maybe the SMS services that you're using of the third party. So you need to understand that which one is responsible for which one. So in order to take an in-depth dive in between the HTTPS status codes, let me just give you a quick refresher that 100 to 199 are the informational, like I told you into the earlier lecture. 200 to 299 are occupied for the successful packets that are served inside your system. Then you have 300 to 399 redirection requests. So these are the different redirection requests of the example that I gave you a few seconds back. And then you have client-side errors as well. For example, if your internet is not working, or maybe if you have done something wrong, or if you have intercepted the request. A lot of hackers receive these kind of requests again and again, or these kind of client-side errors again, because the server is not going to say that, hey, you are hacking. It's not going to tell you directly. He'll tell you that the client has done something mischievous, which is why he is getting this 400 to 499 client-side error. Then you also have server kind of requests that are starting from 500 to 599, because in some cases you see sometimes the bandwidth limit is reached. If the bandwidth limit is reached, then you don't have much powerful servers in order to host a lot of users out there at a time, which also reminds me of another attack that was called as DOS attack, that is denial of service. And a lot of you can also go for DDoS as well, in which more than one people are firing the DOS, which is how the Sony was shut down. And this was done by anonymous long back, but still a lot of people are using DOS attack. And I'm also going to tell you the mitigation methodology as well, because right now we have developed a lot of models in order to identify that which if the request that someone is sending on to the server is kind of a null request or it is a genuine request. Because what happens when you go ahead with the DOS attack, you fire a lot of null packets onto the server. You don't have any information inside those packets. They are just the packets. A lot of flooded packets are there onto your server when somebody is trying to hit the DOS attack. So I'm going to tell you what are the different tools that you can apply inside your server as well, and maybe on your WordPress website, or maybe on your simple website, or any product that you are using. Then you can apply these kind of models in order to prevent these kind of DOS attacks. And there is one more good thing. If there is a single guy hitting the DOS attack, then now you know that the logs are being created. You have not seen that in them practically, but now you have this much of knowledge as well. You need to keep a little bit of patience in this course, because right now I'm just giving you the holistic idea. I have not shown you everything practically, because first you need to have an idea, and then I'll be showing you practically that what kind of how these kind of things can be identified, right? So these were the quick 500 to 599 server related errors. Now let's go ahead and talk about the important requests that you see quite a lot. These are the important, because I'm not going to tell you that you're gonna have to learn all the requests starting from 200 to 299, but you need to create you need to understand the basic requests that are the most famous ones, right? So one of the most common requests that you see into your Burp suite or inside your packets, or maybe into your developers tool, into your Mozilla Firefox, is 200 OK request. So 200 OK request comes up when the request is being successfully completed without any hindrance. The web page that you have requested is being successfully served onto your browser. Then you have 201 request, right? You see quite a lot. If there is new user that is being registered, then the 201 request, or anything new is being created anywhere onto the website, then it is just going to give you the informational, like this new element or new function inside a website is being successfully created, for which the 201 created request is being generated. We are going to take this theoretical session for like 15 minutes more, and then we are going to take a quick break out here. Okay, and so you have this 301 permanent redirect request as well. Like I mentioned you that we have, I mentioned you, like, for example, you open up your Amazon.com, and once you see that it's Amazon.in out there, and inside your country, or maybe it's Amazon.au.nz. So they are giving a permanent redirection request out there, right? So you can see that I've written here that this redirects the client's browser to a new web page, or tells the search engine that the page has moved somewhere else, or to look there instead, right? So this is about permanently moving the web page. For example, there are a lot of, or maybe even if you write a normal HTML script, that if you host them onto the hosting, then also with that normal script, then also you can permanently redirect that request, right? So basically you see some kind of websites, for example, if you have some kind of websites that are being shut down, but you don't want to tell your users, you don't, for example, if some company is acquired by some other company, then when you go ahead and open their URL, and then suddenly you are jumped onto a totally new URL, that is called as permanently redirect request. But in this case, I want to differentiate it again, that if that is permanently redirecting you with the help of a script that is being hosted into the HTML file, or these kind of different files, if they are permanently making you to jump onto a new web page, onto a completely new URL that is not at all associated with the parent URL, that is called as a permanent redirect. But if we talk about temporary redirect, I just gave you the example. Let's suppose it is Amazon.in and it is jumping onto .com or .nz, or basis onto your location, that is called as temporary redirect. So these are the two redirection methodologies that are available out there. Okay, then you have 400 bad requests. So 400 bad request is something when you mold the request, and the web server is not receiving the request as it was mentioned out there. For example, you intercept the request and you put some extra elements in there and these kind of things. Then you see these kind of 400 bad requests. And then you have 401 not authorized requests. Not authorized requests are the requests that are mostly used for the username and password, they are the protected pages. For example, some people keep some kind of important documents onto their website and they put the password under it and they just want their team to access it. In that case, they put not authorized request if you have inserted the wrong password in there. Also, 403 are the forbidden requests. These forbidden requests are on the basis of, you can say, the MAC addresses. So once you whitelist the MAC address, you'll be able to see the forbidden content. Now, the if somebody's making some kind of private pages onto the website, or if they have some kind of high profile projects or maybe products that are going up into their environment, and they want that their resource should be only opened up by the defined IP or the MAC addresses only. Even if you change the system, you won't be able to access that file. Then you see the 403 forbidden request. And then you have 405 method. So for the 405 method, that is like if you manipulate some kind of method, for example, if there is get request being passed onto the server and then you see the post request out there, you change these kind of requests, then these kind of methods are taking up there and the methods are being totally altered. In that case, the server will throw you the 405 that this method is completely not allowed by the web server, which is why you see the 405 method request. Then you have 404 page not found. If the page is not existing, you see this quite a lot. Then it is called as the page not found request. Then you have 500 requests as well that are the internal service errors. The server has encountered some kind of error with your request that doesn't know how to handle properly. So it is the request when the server is not able to identify that what kind of service this is, and if the server seems that this is the out of the box request that somebody is like hosting up, then you see some kind of 500 internal service errors. Suppose you hit a lot of kind of post requests, or you have this like you see we have a lot of tools like Canva and these kind of tools that are available out there. So you see these kind of service unavailable requests when these kind of requests are over limited, right? So in some of the cases the bandwidth limit is reached and the server, or you can say the kind of a SaaS based product like Canva that you have decided and they are hosted onto the web page, if that is not being served pretty well, or if that is overloaded with a lot of requests at a time, and a lot of people are using your software kind of website that you have designed for the other user, if that is loaded with these kind of a lot of requests, then you see 503 service unavailable request. So this is the kind of request that I have just given you the introduction. It's 4:15 right now. We are going to take a quick 5 minutes of break, just 5 minutes of break. I'm going to see you all again exactly, or let's just take a 10 minutes of break. I'll see you back again exactly at 4:20. So it's a 9-minute break now. So I'm just pausing the session right here, and then I'll see you again. We'll complete this methodology and then we'll complete the burp suit as well. Once we are done with these both of these sessions, then I'll be taking all of your doubts live right here. All right, everyone. I hope everyone is still active. So let's resume our class now. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a quick introduction that in terms of API, that where actually this API is being, is present inside the map that I've shown you a couple of times. The reason why I have shown you this map couple of times so that it could fit in inside your mind that how exactly the things are going from one place to another. So what happens and what exactly the use of API is, for example, there is a web browser database who are giving the information. You are making some kind of request from the browser. The request is being made. But in between, exactly before the web server into the mapping, you have this called as API, Application Programming Interface. So if somebody asks me what exactly the API is, I would like to give you a very quick and a real life example that you see into a lot of websites. You are getting authenticated with the help of Facebook login or maybe Google login. So what happens when they are giving you the API to, put the authorization from the Google or maybe you can say Facebook, they cannot give you the database. They cannot share you the database. They cannot share you the information of the user that you are receiving, but they want the authentication from their platform, which is why they are sharing the API. Like, here is a chunk of code, you can put it up and you can use Facebook as well, or maybe you can use Google as an authentication. Another thing, if we talk about let's say Go IBBoo, what is that doing? He's basically putting up some kind of APIs from Indigo and these kind of different people, because Indigo is running their own system as well in order to book the flights. They have their own, they have their different traveling agents. They have their different. You can say even onto the apps as well. They have the different apps. Like there are a lot of traveling apps out there. So what Indigo is doing, they are giving them the API so that there cannot be mismatch of double flights booked on the same seat or something like that. So basically, they are sharing the API. APIs can be developed very easily. They are developed into the two format usually. In the corporate cases or into the private cases, people are usually developing the XML APIs, and into the public cases, they are using the JSON APIs. So these are the two API formats that are integrated overall into the world these days, XML and JSON. XML is for the private purpose for the corporation or organization, and then you have XML. XML is for the private purpose, and you have a lot of JSON APIs. For example, like there are a lot of people making, while programming, they are making some kind of weather APIs are openly available out there onto the internet. They are just integrating that chunk of code in order to put the weather gadget out there into the website, and these kind of hell lot of a lot of open APIs are there. They are into the JSON format. So it is nothing more. It is the program based interface of any application, any third party, so that you can integrate that easily, and you can just go ahead and use their services without their database, without the sharing of their databases. So this is what exactly the API is. A third party with the help of a very, with the help of a single file, or you can say a single code of chunk of XML and JSON, you can use those third party authentications and these kind of things. And this is what exactly the API is. So it is right here, right? So in some of the cases, we have seen that zero auth is one of the finest API that people are using these days for the authentication of Google and Facebook. So people have found the flaws into the zero auth APIs as well. So make sure you go ahead and check that out, that what exactly the API in detail. So what happens that a browser makes an API call to retrieve data from the web server, right? So the browser has a different column for API for which they have XML and JSON. So the browser will call that again and again, because in some of the cases, for example, you do the authentication from Facebook or Google, the browser will hold the request till then. It will not send the request to the web server or directly. It will, interchange the data in between API and web server. And after it is being successfully resolved, then it is being fetched onto the web app into the web browser. The API in front of the server catches the request and calls to the server and asks the data. The same thing that I've just now explained you. The server sends a response to the API that contains the requested data, and then the API forwards the response data back to the browser requested. So in these 4 points, I have just now explained that how the API is interacted from the web server, how the web app browser is doing the call with the API, and they are getting fetched onto your web browser, right? Yes, like the iNeuron is using Google API, exactly like that. For the authentication, a lot of different people are using different APIs. So into the upcoming time, we are also going to learn that what these different kind of APIs are there, right? So this was a quick, okay, do you guys want me to show you a quick practical example of API? I can show you a quick practical example of API. Okay, I do have this cookie browser as well. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick format. A lot of people are using JSON as well for the authentication. For example, your Netflix is doing that, and you can say your Hotstar is also doing that, and a lot of, almost every video surfing website is doing that. So for example, in a lot of cases, they are doing these kind of API thing into a very insecure manner, because they are also storing the cache and the sessions inside the API, or you can say inside the JSON format, right? So let's see if I still remember the password of my Netflix, though I don't watch it at all these days. Okay, I guess this is my password, right password. Okay, so this is my account for, you can say, my Netflix. Welcome back, Saksham is right here. So this is a quick extension that I wanted to tell you about, that is called as cookie editor. So you can easily configure this cookie editor inside your add-ons. Like you can see cookie editor is right here. So there are cookie editor, 2 types of cookie editor right there. I guess it's for Firefox. So one is a cookie editor and one is a cookie manager. These are the 2 different cookie editors that are out there. So this is the cookie manager, in which the byte is taken from the right side of the cookie. This, what I have configured here, is the cookie editor, in which the byte is taken from the left hand side. Just the difference of byte from the right hand side and left hand side is right here, right? So I'm just going to add this to my Chrome extension. Okay, I'm going to allow this. So now you can see that my cookie manager is right here. So I have configured 2 things not to get confused. First one is cookie editor, in which we'll be able to edit the cookie. And the second one is cookie manager, where you'll be able to see that what is going inside these cookies, right? So this reminds me that I've already, logged in inside my Netflix account. I just want to see if there isn't any conflict, because we installed these add-ons in between the way while we have just logged into the Netflix. So if we go ahead and see here, then you can see that this is the cookie manager, right? So it can also tell you that from which domain it is coming up, like Netflix. These are the requests that are right here from the Netflix. Now you'll be able to understand that what are these kind of things. In some, the size is also defined, and these kind of things are right here from the Netflix, right? So these are again encoded because it is using HTTPS. But what it is not doing is that I'm going to export these cookies, right? So if I export these cookies and if I open them up into the notepad, so this is a quick trick that is going on around into the market. I just wanted to give you a quick idea or an example. This is definitely not a hack, but yeah, this kind of bug is notified under the insecure JSON parsing. So you can see this is the cookie that we have just now exported. I would like to repeat it once again, since I know a lot of people would like to see that from where does this all of these texts come up. So when I go into this cookie editor, I can edit the cookies, and here is an option to import the cookies, and here is an option to export the cookie as well. Later on in this class, you'll realize that with the help of XSS, we can also steal the cookies of somebody's browser, which you must be hearing quite a lot, that somebody is hacking the account by stealing the cookies. So basically what he's doing, that he's exporting these kind of cookies right here. So now you can see the prompt that says cookies exported to your clipboard. So I open up my notepad into the clipboard, though it is already there, but I'm opening it into the notepad so that you can see that this is kind of cookie that is being exported, in which everything is right there. You can see the value, the name, the domain, host, path, secure or not secure, first party domain, second party domain, and in fact, the name of the profile. You can see the sessions are also stored inside the cookies, along with the expiration date. There is no restriction and these kind of things. So now they have put the expiration date. Earlier, the expiration date was not there as well. I'm pretty sure if you'll try such same thing onto the Hotstar as well, or maybe onto the Amazon Prime, it is working 100% fine. So this is something that I'm going to copy that was exported into my clipboard. And if I try to import it, so I'm going to import it into the cookie editor. So here is an option to import. So if I click on import, then it says paste your JSON right here. But before I import it, make sure I sign out of my account. Now, this is the trick that I wanted to show you. The session is not getting expired. That is the problem. So it says welcome back section. If I go ahead and sign it out, and I see that it is now leaving so soon, and it is you can see we are getting a prompt of logout right here. But I go ahead and open this netflix.com. Then you can see it is again asking me to sign in. But in this case, if I've exported the cookies, I don't need to, I don't even need the password. Oh, I exported the wrong cookie. I just had to import my older cookie right here. But I guess I have that stored inside my notepad. So I'm going to take it once again. It's right here. Okay. So what I want to do, okay. So what I wanted to do is that I just wanted to, import this JSON right here. So if I go ahead and import this JSON right here, so I'm going to click on import. I'm going to click it right here. If I import it right here, then you can see it says the cookies were created. Right now it says sign in, but when I reload this, you can see that I am again inside the account of welcome back section. So what is happening in this case is that the cookies are not getting expired. So these are the small things that you can play around along with the help of APIs. Now, you must be able to understand that what exactly the API is. This was the API for their personal use in order to authenticate their accounts and these kind of different things. But this was just a quick attack. No, we cannot report it as a bug because I have already reported it as a bug. Somebody has asked, because they are not much concerned about this bug. But I know that this is the only way why this is the only thing why you are able to get the Netflix account for the cheaper price, and the Mozilla Firefox and almost every subscription kind of services are getting beaten down. For example, Grammarly is having a huge loss of this because of this kind of trick. If you'll explore more about it on internet, the Canva is beaten down because of this. So there are a lot of subscription-based companies that are, heavily being attacked and compromised, and they are receiving a great business loss because of this. The name of this bug is insecure JSON parsing. So this was a quick demonstration of insecure JSON parsing, but still, this was a small thing out there. We are going to learn the major attacks. This again is not a major attack. If we'll go ahead and exploit something in a real time and into the when we'll be doing the reconnaissance methodology tomorrow, and when we'll be doing the you know our what do you call it, the web setup out there, the lab setup out there, then we'll be doing some real-time attacks. But this was just a tip of an iceberg, because the API reminded me of it. Okay, so so this was the quick thing out here. Now I would like to open up my Kali Linux right here. And today we are going to complete all the modules of Burp Suite, because Burp Suite is again very important. Before you just get started with any kind of bug bounty, I'm pretty sure that you should have the knowledge of Burp Suite, which is why we have kept a complete module of Burp Suite. We have already completed what Burp Suite is and what CS certificate is, but now we are going to go ahead with the different kind of modules of Burp Suite, and that's all what we are going to do in today's session. Tomorrow, for reconnaissance methodology and getting started with testing environment, right? So let's get started with this. Just give me a few seconds until the time. You can also open up your Kali Linux, in which we are going to complete all the modules of Burp Suite today. Akshat says, is this also applicable on net banking? I have no clue. I've just taught you this attack. Go ahead and try it, in which you are able to create the accounts and the sessions and these kind of things. So my virtual machine is taking a while to open up. Not JSON parsing, it's JSON parsing, Parsing, JSON parsing. So give me a few seconds, or in case if you are watching the recorded lecture, just forward for like 2-3 minutes till the time I open up my Kali Linux and I start my Burp Suite. Again, if you are facing any problem, you can contact Mukesh, or you can join our WhatsApp group as well. Yes, Burp Suite only works onto the packet thing. Burp Suite works on request basically. Okay, so you have this Burp Suite Community Edition, though we had a lot of discussion about the professional editions as well. Okay, so again, here is a Burp Suite. I'm going to click on next. I'm going to start. In case if you want to keep a record of some kind of different project, you can go ahead and make a old project, or you can just save the file of that. So right now I'm going to start this, and let's explore the different modules of Burp Suite. I'm not sure about YouTube, but Jason Parsing is working on Hotstar. That's all I know. Let's wait for a few more seconds till my burp is opening up. Okay, so we are going to open up the demo websites right here, and we are going to test them. And I guess I would like to open up the website of YouTube, and we will keep on checking them. You can see the request is right here into my proxy. And now I'm going to complete all the modules of Burp Suite today in this session. So the first module that we are going to take is the proxy module. So in proxy module, you do the interception, right? If there is any packet coming up into your from your browser is going to come up into your proxy module, because inside the proxy module, you have the method of interception, right? When you don't click on interception, you don't get that packet, right? But when you click on interception, your packet will come up inside your proxies module of intercept. When you will turn off the interception, your internet will work normally. But again, the tunneling is being done because still the packets are passing from the Burp Suite. So I recommend when you go ahead and use your normal internet connection, you just go back into, or maybe you can go for proxy switcher, or maybe you just go back into the preferences or maybe settings, and then you can just go into the network, and then you can just configure your normal proxy like we have done it sometimes back, right? I'll just show that to you quickly, that how to make the internet normal again. So you go into the network, you go into the settings, and go for no proxy method. Then it will automatically work like that. But in my case, what I usually do, I keep my Burp Suite just for the hacking only. So I just go ahead and use my Chrome browser if I want to use my internet normally. So you can see the moment when I try to forward the request, the web page will also come up, showing up right here, because a lot of requests are right there into your packets right here. So I kept it forwarding, but I guess I closed the URL of YouTube. Let's go ahead and try it once again. Okay, so now I'm getting the request from YouTube, right? So now you can see even cookie in cookie, it is detecting that you are accessing from the Asia, that is Kolkata, and now it is going to serve you the content according to that, which is a very smart algorithm written by YouTube, because there are a lot of content getting viral in India, but they are not getting viral globally. Indian people are looking to Indian people are looking to watch and liking to watch some different kind of content, where the other people are liking some different content. You can also see, like I was telling you, that in some of the cases they also store the fonts and these kind of things. So you can see that in this request, your CSS is getting fetched, CSS family Roboto, along with the weight and size and the YouTube family, that is also being displayed right here. I'm going to forward this request as well, and then you have a lot of requests coming up. So once these requests come up, then you can see that your YouTube is right here. I guess it will prompt us for more requests. More. Web page is slowing slow. See, Google is smart. We also detect that what kind of speed this web page is. And in some of the few requests, in fact, in this request, you see, it is already defined that you have a JPG coming up in this packet. And these kind of different things are coming up right here, right? So you see all of these kind of things, the Google APIs are also coming up, and these kind of things are coming up. So you do these kind of things into the proxy module. Then inside the proxy module, you also have the HTTP history, where you can see the request and the response right here, right? So suppose if it's YouTube right here, I want to see what kind of request and response that I've got from the server. So this is the request that I've made from the server, from this Linux machine. You can have a look at all of this request, and you can also check the response that you are getting from the server. So what happens, you only concentrate on sending the request or intercepting the request, but sometimes you also need to analyze the response that our server has given us. Like I just taught you a few minutes back that what kind of response that your server can give us, and you can see the connection is being allowed and a lot of code is being allowed by the server in this packet. So likewise, you will see a lot of things coming up into the section of response when you'll go ahead and check them out, right? So this is what is there into the response section of burp suite, right? Then you have WebSocket history and the options. I guess it is hanging up a little bit. Okay, I think I'll have to go into the proxy intercept and I'll have to drop down that request. It's working now. All right, so you see this happens into the HTTP request, HTTP history module. You see the request and the response as well. WebSocket history is not yet required, but yeah, it will tell you that what kind of time it has taken for one port, for one packet to go from one place to another. In options, we have already explored that you can go ahead and host your own proxy with the help of 127.0.0.1 right here. Okay, so okay, UV says you still have old version. UV, I believe all the functionalities are quite same in the older version and the latest version as well. I haven't yet upgraded it because I was working on something. If you have any kind of doubt, feel free to ask, and maybe into the next class, we'll be able to see the updated version. If you have any problem coming up, or if you have any module that is messing up right there into the into this module, you can just let me know. But right now we are just clearing up the basics. So I'm sure we are going to initiate the attacks into the updated modules only. Okay, so now you have this thing in here. And you also have the different other modules as well, like you have burp suite, intruder, as well scanner and repeater. Okay, so we are done with this proxy module. Now what happens that you have the request in here. So you can send this request anywhere out there, right? But before you send this request, you need to understand that what is being done into the different modules. So I would like to give you a quick idea that what are the different modules of the burp suite, right? So you have the repeater module, you have sequencer as well, you have comparer as well, and you have decoder as well. Now these are the important tools out there, and there are a lot of tools that are only available for the pro version. For example, generated CSRF POC. So you can also go for the pro version for generating the CSRF POC, because we are going to read about CSRF POC in depth, but we are also going to learn that how you can manually write the POC of CSRF, right? So that is also not going to be any issue in there if you don't find these kind of functionality into the engagement tools, because we'll be learning to write them manually as well. So let's first of all talk about the repeater that is out there, right? So repeater is also a very important tool out there. So you see, I just right clicked on this request. And I clicked on repeater, and now the request is being sent to repeater, right? So if you want to see the live request and the response right here, no, only UI is different, that's okay. But still, yeah, we'll update it, no worries. We'll update it into the upcoming sessions. Okay, so now you see that you have the request and the response right here. If you want to live check the request and the response, like into the proxy, you have the request in here, right? You haven't yet forwarded this request. This request is still right here. Without forwarding it from your proxy, you can forward it into the repeater and you can check the response, right? So for example, if I go ahead and mix up changes into the key of YouTube. So let's say I just I just deleted two of the letters from the key. So likewise, you check in this way, right? You go ahead and forward the request. Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions, but I just need to complete the module of this verb suit, and then I'm going to take all of your responses and I'm going to solve all of your doubts after that. Okay, so I've just removed these two letters in here, and let me go ahead and send the request, and I see what I get this into the response is that it is 400 bad requests, right? Okay, so this 400 bad request, why it is happening? Because I have done some manipulation in here, right? So if I go ahead and go with Control Z, okay, it is not working. Control Z is not working, which is why I'm not going to get a good response. So I made some changes right here. So this also happens in the case of cookie. What if you want to identify that the cookie and the session that was generated is checking up that cookie authentication on the basis of timestamp, or it is checking the cookie on the basis of length, or it is checking the cookie on the basis of individual letters, or it is checking the cookie on the basis of which filter. If you want to check that, because suppose in some case, if that filter is not there, uh, right? If that filter is not there, in order to check the request and the response, then you see these kind of things are taken care into the major care, because these filters are being checked into the live way into the repeater module, right? You can see into the proxy, this request isn't yet forwarded. If I go ahead, I just changed this A and I that were into the capital letters. I omitted these into the testing of repeater. If I put them again, for example, if I go into the request, now I see A and I were the letters that I've omitted before Z and A, because when I omitted them, I got the request of 400 bad requests. This is just for the testing purpose, basically. So if I go ahead and I again put the AI and I forward the request, then let me see what kind of response I'm getting. See, now I'm not getting the 400 bad response, right? So I'm getting the 200 okay response in here, which means everything is right, and which also means that Google is checking all the keys very carefully right here. But in a lot of cases, it is not being checked. So now this is the one request. In some kind of request, when you intercept the packet for the logging in, or in some kind of request when you go ahead and check out into the payment gateway bypass things, or if you go ahead and check out the sessions of a lot of accounts, in that case, you can keep on checking, and then later on you can execute the attacks that I'm about to tell you into the upcoming class. So I hope the concept must be all clear to you all, that what exactly the repeater is doing here. Repeater is not letting the request to get forwarded, and also repeater is just repeater is just into the live way without the request is being forwarded to the web server. It is just extracting that request into the repeater, and it is just checking the response of that individual request into the request and response section right here, right? So this is the work of repeater. And then the next module after the repeater is you also have intruder right here. You need to understand what exactly the intruder is. So if I go ahead and send this same request, we are just taking this demo testing request. This is definitely not any kind of hack or somewhat like that, but we are eventually going to do that into the upcoming session. We haven't yet covered the fundamental, but yes, this is going to be the last class for the fundamental, and then from tomorrow we are going to start a lot of reconnaissance methodology and the lab setup. And then from the next week, I'm pretty sure every day we are going to do a lot of attacks right there, which will be quite happening and interesting for you all. So if I go ahead and send this to intruder, right? So here is my intruder module. Now what exactly the intruder is doing? Intruder is a module where you have set up a lot of different attacks right there. They are already there. You just have to give the attack to the target. So like I have given the attack of the target of this request, and I've sent this because, suppose if this must be the request of, suppose, let's say OTP bypass. Let's take the OTP bypass scenario in this case. Though we are going to learn the OTP bypass practically in upcoming classes, but now if I take the scenario that suppose this is the OTP bypass request and I want to hit attack where the OTP is being written exactly on that path. So what I'll do, I'll send this request into the intruder module, right? So this is the second request that I've sent. So you can see the target is right here is www.youtube.com. You have a lot of positions right here. So I'm going to tell you about the different attacks that are available into this intruder module, into the burp suite. So the first thing that you should do after coming in this module, that it is randomly selecting a lot of things, right? I don't want that. I want to clear it up all so that my request can stay raw, right? So suppose let's say this key is where I want to hit the attacks right now, right? So suppose suppose this key is the place where my OTP is being bypassed, right? So into the OTP, when you'll go ahead and insert the OTP like 123, it will be intercepted and it will be shown in here, right? What happens when you bypass the OTP? Suppose I have written the wrong OTP in there, like 1234, and I intercepted that into the request, and I haven't yet forwarded that packet inside the server. So I haven't yet forwarded that packet inside the server, which is why I'll be able to see 1234 written in a plain text right here into your request section. Now, suppose that this is the OTP column in here, like 1234 is right here. I just want to hit the attack onto this OTP column right here. So what I'll do, I'll just select this, and now I just want to hit attack exactly pinpointing to here only. What I'll do, I'll just select it and I'll click on add. Now there is one more thing that you will see, that I have just now selected only this thing only, which is why before this object and after this object, you will see this double S sign right here, which is the sign of clear, right? If in case if you want to clear it again, you can also clear it and make it all right like before. But suppose this is the 1234 that is being displayed just in an imaginary scenario. The 123 is right here, which I really want to select, and I'm going to click on add right here, right? So this is my vector that is being set up where I'm going to about to attack. So this is one of the option in here. So now you can you can find the type of attack that you want to hurt, because basically this intruder module is usually used just for the dictionary attacks or attacks that are related to permutation and the combination. I'm just going to write it down for you so that you can remember it all the time, because this is really important out there. This intruder module is right here for the attacks related to permutation and combination, which is what I am more willing, because I am not more indulged on dictionary attacks, because dictionary attacks are least technical and they are like, guessing methodologies are happening out there, which doesn't works into the real life scenario anymore, because we are living into the world where technology has evolved like anything. So dictionary attacks are not much useful. You should care about the permutation combination, especially OTP bypass or any kind of authentication that you are receiving over the emails or these kind of things. Yes, because of rate limit. Right. So you can see that these kind of things are happening. So suppose like this is the OTP that I've clicked on add. Now I'm going to check the kind of attack that I want to go ahead and write there. So you have the sniper. Sniper attack happens when you set the limit, or you can say the rate. For example, if I go ahead and if I see that my password is a 4-digit password, just for the imaginary scenario, my OTP is a 4-digit password. If my OTP is a 4-digit password, it will start from 1000 to 9999. So how many combinations are available right here? We can give that thing a range. So now this will be the range of that 4-digit OTP. It will be somewhere in between 1000 to 9999, right? So this is the basic logic of OTP. Though we are going to take a complete module on how to go ahead and execute the OTP attack live, But right now, I just want to make you understand that what is happening inside this burp suite module, right? So you can see that the range we have defined in here is 1000 to 9999. And now if the range is defined, then our target and the attack is fixed, right? If the attack is fixed, yes, you can see the 9000 combination is what will be generated, right? So if we have fixed the target of this, then we have defined the range, which is why, you know what happens when somebody is shooting up a sniper on you, he's defining the target and he's just hitting that on you. So exactly like that, you go ahead with the sniper attack. In sniper attack, when you'll select the sniper attack, when you'll go onto the payload, which is the another module that is related to this sniper attack only, then you will see that you have payload set, payload type. Suppose if it's OTP right there, then you're going to select what? Numbers. And then if I select number, then you can see it's right here. I told you about the range just now. So you can just define the range in here. You can say that it could be in between 1000 to 999. So with the permutation and the combination methodology, it will find out all the possible combinations. And now you know that if the request is 200 OK, or if the request is 301 redirection or something like that, then you'll be able to check that easily into the response. And if your response is correct, then your work is done and the OTP is breached. So it is very easy to breach the OTP, but this is the module that you need to understand. You go ahead and hit with a lot of permutation combination attacks into the intruder module. You just have to grab the request into the real-time scenario. You gotta have to send it to the intruder, and then you gotta have to use this module for the permutation and the combination. And into the positions, you can check sniper, battering ram, pitchfork, and cluster bombing. Cluster bombing includes, cluster bombing doesn't has like any kind of range in there. You can use numbers and alphabets and these kind of things over there. You also have battering ram and pitchfork. They are not used in any kind of attack at all, which is why we usually don't cover this thing in here. So you just need to take care of these two things, that is called as sniper and cluster bombing. So that is the only thing useful into the intruder module. Into the first tab, you'll see the target. Make sure the path or the host of the target is right. Then you go into the position. You check out the complete request that you have extracted from the main module of intruder inside the proxy. You take it out in here, and then you just set the kind of attack you want to use. You just set the parameter where you wish to hit an attack, and then you can go to the payloads. And then once these kind of settings are done, if this was this have been an OTP bypass, it's quite done in here, and you just have to hit the start attack, and then it should have been working fine, right? So for example, if we try these kind of attack, okay, the invalid number setting is coming up because that is not an OTP or the number that we are looking to brute force. So brute force methodology is successful right now in the method of permutation and combination only, in which you have less digits only, because if you'll go with brute force methodology, because even if you will go ahead and you will hit the OTP bypass and these kind of permutation combination based attacks into the intruder methodology, then it will take around half an hour or maybe 1 hour of your time. Till the time for half an hour, you'll have to grab that request, and then if you are going to guess somebody's password with a brute force attack, that too when you have all the letters and all the numbers involved, then it will take hours, which means you need a supercomputer right there, which is why I don't prefer the brute force attacks, and dictionary attacks are like nothing. You yourself can also go ahead and guess a lot of passwords, but still in some of the cases it works. So into the upcoming module, we'll also learn that how you can use the dictionary attacks as well. So this is all about the intruder module of burp suite right here. Let's go ahead and check out some other modules of burp suite. We are done with proxy, we are done with intruder, and we are done with repeater as well. So now this repeater is being done, sequencer is right here, and comparer. Okay. So comparer is also one of my favorite. I'll tell you why. I've sent this request again in comparer. So you can basically compare the data that is right here into this. So you can, load, move, or you can, paste or send data from the other tools that you want to use. But again, comparer is also not much useful because, you're basically introspecting the API from the proxy that were right here. So I believe instead of using comparer, I would like to use the repeater. So you're just analyzing this part. But when you see a repeater, then into the repeater you can also do the same thing. You can just even this part is also included into the repeater, which is why I usually use this thing out there. But you can also load out these, if you want to load any kind of these kind of files, you can import these kind of burp file, and you can use the comparer in here. And these kind of packets that are right here, you can load them up manually in here. But I think we don't need to go ahead into the comparer tool, because we are not going to import anything offline. We are just going to go ahead and we are going to extract a lot of these things into the repeater. So the modules that I frequently use while using burpsuit is repeater, and I use proxy quite a lot, and I use intruder quite a lot, right? Then you also have decoder module. I don't use this one as well, because what happens in decoder, it is basically, it has given you a lot of different decoders. Like you have URL, HTML encoder, you have base 64, you find base 64 quite a lot into the form of passwords, and ASCII as well. You have hex encoder, decoder as well. You have octal, binary, and gzip as well. So these are the different. So suppose if I go ahead and I've written these random numbers right here, and if I want to decode them into, let's say, ASCII, so this is going to be my ASCII value. Or if I want to decode them as base 64, so this is going to be their base 64 value. So this is the different kind of thing that can be that can be used in here. Okay, I'm sorry, I was using the wrong one. It was encode. This is the decoded part. This is the plain text, which is called as the decoded part. If I want to encode them, I have to click on encode S. So if I see the base 64 value of this, some random letters that I've written here, is this is the base 64 value of that. If I encode it as, let's say, ASCII into the hex, then you can see that this is the hex of these letters that I have written in here. So this is what exactly the work of decoder is. So we have successfully covered what exactly, according to the curriculum, we have successfully covered what exactly the proxy is. We have covered the intruder as well. And we have also included the repeater, sequencer, and then we have also completed the decoder and comparer as well. And into the payloads, payload type is this thing. If somebody asks you what exactly the payload type is, then you're going to find them in intruder, right? So you can see that these are the different payload, the number, the character blocks, number, dates, brute forcers that we are going to, use in upcoming class practically. Into the brute forcers, we'll be using DVWA lab in here for a while. Into the starting 2-3 weeks, we are going to use DVWA, and then we are going to go on to the extreme lab that is on WebGoat. That is the most finest and the most advanced level of lab that we are going to cover. But since we have taken care of everything from scratch, because there are a lot of beginners as well, there are a lot of people here who have just now started their career into the cybersecurity or maybe into the bug bounty and these kind of stuff, then this is why we are taking everything from scratch. So DVWA is on to the easy level, and WebGoat is extreme out there. So with the brute forcer methodology, you can also brute force the password of DVWA lab. That is going to be the first challenge for us. So these were the different modules that we have in here. We also have also covered the engagement tools, and if you don't know what exactly the engagement tools is, we won't be able to access them, because This is only available into the pro version only. In my pro version, I only use one thing into the pro version of this engagement tool, that is called as generate CSRF POC. So basically what happens, it automatically creates your CSRF form that we'll be learning to design manually, because in some of the cases this also doesn't work because we cannot rely much onto the tool. So which is why we are going to learn that why and how we are going to generate the CSRF POC manually. So this is also going to sort your problem for not getting a pro edition, and this will also clear your fundamental that how to generate things on your manual part and not being so dependent onto the tools, right? Then you also have you also have like this store for the burp suit, where you see a lot of new tools related to the burp suit that is there onto your home only. Into the dashboard, you see a lot of new things, but this is active onto the pro version only. You can go with the spider and these kind of methodology, these kind of things. So this is called as the live passive crawl from the proxy from all the traffic. So what you do, you just go ahead and give them a new URL, and then you just start this attack. So this is called as a spider. So you have this SMTP header injection, and these kind of different set of attacks are right here. So we are going to sort this out with a tool that is called as WebGoat, that has more advanced level of scanning right here, right there, which is why we are not going to cover the web spider as well of the burp suit. But in case if you have a pro level of edition, then you can just insert the URL in here, and with the automation way, it will try to figure out that what could be the possible parameter where you can have such kind of vulnerability. So it will give you just with the OSINT methodology, it will just give you the parameter. It will not give you the ways on how to exploit it. You'll have to exploit that manually again. So again, everything depends on to the manual approach that you can keep into this thing. So this was a quick session on to the burp suit. If you have any more doubts related to burp suit, then feel free to ask. And that's all we'll read today in today's session. And we'll take it further tomorrow from the Reconnaissance methodology and on to the, you can say, your configuring your lab. So let's go ahead and take your doubts. And now I'm solving the doubts. So students who are not interested to ask the doubts and these kind of things, we are done with session. You can continue with all of your other works, and rest of the people can ask the doubts into the chat section. Okay. So what indicates vulnerability, sir, in code? If you are getting any faulty output, okay, ask it a little slowly. So okay, so the question was, what indicates vulnerability in code? See, the methodology, if the code is written in an old-fashioned way, and any of these attacks are getting executed, then it refers to the vulnerability. If anything sensitive or malicious or faulty thing is coming out of that code, which an application should not do, can definitely result into the vulnerability. What can we do with CSRF? With CSRF, the finest example is that you can auto-submit the form from the third-party origin. For example, you were clicking on some Facebook links and it was auto-posted onto your wall sometimes in a lot of cases, or in some of the cases you see you don't even send those messages, but somewhere you have clicked on that link that was malicious and it was sent to all of your message list or maybe friend list. That message is being sent, and if your friend will click on that, and that will also float it again. So this is the auto submission of form without any origin check. That is CSRF. But anyways, don't worry about this. We are going to cover this later on. Please explain cluster bombing. So cluster bombing, into the cluster bombing, you go ahead, you don't have the range set into the cluster bombing, and you go with the brute force methodology where you can include the numbers as well, and where you can include the alphabets as well. This cluster bombing is done for the ID and the passwords basically. So that is called as cluster bombing. So in intruder, what exactly the work is? In intruder, you send a request and you check what kind of response you're getting from the server without forwarding the main request that you have intercepted into your proxy module. You haven't yet forwarded the main request to the server, but again, you have taken that request into the intruder, and then you can say more than intruder. I would recommend you to put that request into the repeater, and then you check it that what kind of response you are getting from the server. That's it. It's just to check the response from the server. So I've just now repeated repeaters. Sir, kindly explain about the network virtualization and SDN. Network virtualization, it is done with the help of SSH. We are going to talk about this into the upcoming class. So that would be the right time to explain you that. Can you repeat once about the Spider? So Spider is available into the Pro Edition, in which you will be able to, give the link, and the Spider will automatically go ahead and check out the link, and it will automatically check out for the vulnerabilities that are available onto that web page. But it will just give you the scope. It won't be telling you that this is exploitable of that. You will have to exploit that manually, which is what counts. But we are going to use a WASP Zap. Zap is one of the finest tool for this. So that is much more recommended, I believe. Can we intercept other than localhost? We can intercept anything. Localhost request is also what we can intercept. We can intercept anything that is there into the browser. Okay, explained about repeater. Already in Websuit, I have not forwarded draw option. Still, I can't get certificate. Make sure you have correctly followed the steps. I believe if you guys are still receiving problem in configuring this, then you can book a session from Mukesh or Prasanna. I believe you must be into the WhatsApp group that is sent into your emails. So make sure you join that group. If you still don't have the link, I can just forward you the link of that WhatsApp group. There we are solving these kind of doubts pretty much. And like people are getting solutions overnight over there. So we are super active on that WhatsApp group. And if, the problem is not still solved, then what we are doing is that we are quickly asking people to share their Zoom ID, and then we are just solving their problems out. So I'm just going to forward you the link of WhatsApp, and then you can join that group. Can Burp 2020 and 2021 be installed side by side? No, because they have the different GRE versions. So which is why it is not recommended to install 2020 and 2021 at the same time. You can use 2022 as per the latest part, but some people are still using the old Burpsuit version because that is easily available out there with the crack, because some people don't want to buy the premium version, which is why they are using it. Okay, so give me a second. I'm just logging in order to get your WhatsApp accounts link. Till the time I'm logging in, I think I would like to take another question. So after how many days we will start bug bounty? We'll start bug bounty from the next week. So into the next week, you can expect to start something related to bug bounty, you can say. Okay. So yes, I have got this link in here. I'm sending you this link over the WhatsApp, over the chat section in here. So you can go ahead and join this group right here. Okay, so not much questions. After how many done? Intruder, what was done? Comparer, I just gave you the example of comparer. Can we see some live examples of using this tool into the upcoming classes? Definitely. That's why I'll help you tomorrow on how to configure the lab in which we can do everything live. So that is really a good thing out there. I know you guys are super excited to do something practically. You just want to attack a lot of websites, but yes, the reason why I've folded you up here so that I can build your fundamental, so that even if you're from the technical or non-technical background, doesn't matter. But now you have a lot of scope that is prepared inside your brain. A lot of parameters are now built up into your brain after these sessions, where you can go ahead and attack as much as you can. How to intercept mobile app traffic? See, in order to intercept the mobile app traffic, you're gonna have to root your phone, which is definitely not a good idea. If you will try, connecting your burp suit from your mobile phone, then it will intercept only the browser of that phone. Okay, so what is cyber kill chain? I have no idea about cyber kill chain. If server is running an old OS version and server version is getting exposed, then we can run CV attacks by using Metasploit. Yes, Peter, this is a very good approach. That is why I told you, if somebody is using older version of operating system, then I'm pretty sure that there must be some vulnerability existing on the domain that I've just now mentioned, that is exploit-db.com. That is what we usually do, which is why I've introduced you that website that was exploit-db. You take out that exploit of that older version and just configure that CVE, and then boom, that thing is totally hacked. But for that, you should have a very good knowledge about the port scanning and how to configure the exploit. Exploits configuration are not easy, but once you will configure some exploit throughout this course, then definitely you will be able to configure any exploit out there. So through intruder being an attacker, we can change the request and forward. Yes, you can do that. Sir, will JSON parsing also works on Amazon Prime? Yes, it is working on Amazon Prime, but don't ask me if it is working on Amazon, Facebook, or such big companies. Just take the small companies for these kind of attacks, and then just try it yourself. So how to forward the intercept request? Just click on forward button. You can install a different folder. Comparer, what exactly works? Comparer is used to compare two requests and to check the request from the server. Isn't the cooking expiry a vulnerability to report in bounty programs? Yes, sometimes you report that, but they don't hear much, because when you will go on to the HackerOne, and later on time I'll tell you the story of HackerOne. They have some attacks that are in scope, and some of them are not in scope. So I believe most of the time they put cookie kind of attacks into the out of scope, but in some of the cases you get the bounties as well, because this was also reported. The same cookie thing was reported onto the bug crowd, and they fixed it, and they've given the bounty as well. So it all depends on where you are reporting it. So we have something called as Cisco DNS security, called as Cisco Umbrella, where they have their own DNS server address. I just want to know that is it vulnerable? I'm not sure. We'll have to check it if that is vulnerable, but I'm pretty sure Cisco takes care of a very good security thing out there. So there are not high chances. Can we edit website information using repeater? No. For the editing part, Sandeep, you have the main request, the raw request that you see into the proxy and intruder module. In the repeater, you can only check it for your own knowledge only. How to download certificate? We have already done this. If you are facing these kind of problem in configuration, then feel free to check it out on the WhatsApp. How to validate the software download with the signature? For that, you use reverse engineering. Yes. So we haven't yet covered this reverse engineering module, but you can definitely search about what reverse engineering is. There are a lot of tools that are available for the reverse engineering. I just forgot the name of that tool. It was starting from O. So OLEDB, yes, OLEDB. So OLEDB is one of the tools where you can make a lot of reverse engineering kind of things, and you can, stop the software from validating its signature so that it won't get updated and it won't ask for your key as well. So this is by how people develop the cracks of the software. Will you be teaching Metasploit? Yes, I'll be teaching how to configure exploits and how to do the port scanning, everything of that. I guess you guys have not yet checked the curriculum. Just keep on checking the curriculum, and you will see that what you are expected to learn and what you are not expected to learn. Will you be teaching us user options and project options in next class? Yes, definitely I can teach that. Reverse engineering is a bit complicated. Yes, it is. It's reverse engineering. Reverse engineering is used to make the cracks of the software. How to check logs in Linux, who logged in, and etc. You should have to check, Prahlad, you gotta have to check out my previous sessions in which I have told you the architecture into the Linux fundamental, where I have defined that where the logs are being stored. Sir, in MacBook Air M1, VirtualBox is not available. Can I work on VMware then, Kali? Yes, you can definitely use that. PDFs, yes, PDF will be updated within, usually it is updated overnight or maybe till the morning, but we usually take 24 hours to, upload the recorded videos and the PDF. So I'll be sending you the resource over the WhatsApp group as well, and over the community over the community section, it is also available over there. So I believe we are done with today's session. Tomorrow we are going to have a detailed session. So keep ready for a complete 6-hour session tomorrow. And make sure you just go ahead and try to configure DVWA if you are able to do that. But yes, tomorrow we are going to have a very detailed session. So can you send tutorial to set this up on WhatsApp? Tutorial of Ketan, which one? Quickly ask. I'm about to turn off this session. Okay, timing is same every Saturday, Sunday, 3 to 6. Okay, so Ketan, I guess you should contact Mukesh. He'll be telling you some other software for this. So there is a guy named Mukesh in our group who is helping you out. I'm also helping you out over there. So take a quick, Skype session from him, and he'll make you walk through it. So don't hesitate to book your Skype session. It will be good for you. So that's it for today. I hope you have enjoyed today's class as well. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. But thank you so much for joining. That's it for today. And I hope to see you again.